Hello everyone, this is Ross from retrodreambeam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we would be shipping out today on Tuesday, but the post office is closed. But we're just going to get ahead of the game and we're going to go ahead and pack this up. I thought I could do the video now and one tomorrow, or I could have combined it all to tomorrow or super late tonight, but then it would have been a hassle. All right, and also this is the second day of me not listing. I might not list this whole week, taking like a mini little break. I haven't done that since I can remember for eBay. I guess maybe for part-time, but that's part-time. But I just want to see how it goes. If the sales go down a lot, I might just start picking up listing again. I'm focusing on trying to get on a leaderboard for a video game that's a timed event, like a seasonal event. So I was like, you know what? I want to go for that. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm still going back and forth about it. Let's just jump into the item. So the first thing right here is going to be this Blitzkrieg decryption. This is going to be for a board game called Blitzkrieg. I don't know too much about it other than I think it was like a World War II, pretty popular game, came out in 2022. I remember Ned and I actually bought a couple at a convention because they were hard to get for people at the time. And then we flipped the actual game itself. This is going to be one little promo tile. People like to add in the promo tiles and expansion stuff to their games, especially when they play it and when they want to collect it all. $15.99. This is going international, so I'm assuming that wherever this is going, maybe they don't have access to this promo tile. But yeah, one little tile, $15.99 plus shipping. That's pretty cool. All right. Moving along, we have a bunch of these board game, maybe miniature game. These are going to be acrylic, circular, numbered, like circles or tiles from 1 through 8. I couldn't figure out what game they go to. They're pretty good quality. Usually a lot of board games will have extra accessories that are acrylic that you can like purchase from the company, or sometimes like people make them themselves, and then you upgrade your little wooden tokens into like acrylic ones or metal ones. So I couldn't figure out what these went to, but they were pretty cool and neat. I still wrote down all the stuff, like, you know, like the size of all these tokens, acrylic, the color, the numbers. This ended up going for $4.99. So yeah, couldn't ask for more if I don't know what it is. Well, I guess I have. It just depends on what the thing is. That one's kind of like just generic. So I was like, okay, we'll see what we get for that one. All right. Moving along, we have a bunch of Dice Masters. This is going to be, you've seen me sell this before. This is the X-Men Uncanny set. These are booster packs. We sold a set of 10. These are going to have 2 dice and then 2 cards in there. There's different rarities. There's even like chase stuff to get. It's a dueling game where you have your like deck cards and then they're represented by dice, like the different slots you can get, and you go ahead and duel summon. They have a lot of like X-Men ones, Marvel ones. They also have some DC. I think they have Yu-Gi-Oh! And they also had Ninja Turtles. They have other stuff. People like this game. I don't think it's still around, but still people can pick up the stuff and still play it relatively cheap. So $8.40. I think that's cheaper than what we've sold this before. I only had 2 left of this one. I kept relisting it because I had a bunch. So I just listed the 2 packs for like $5 or something. So we'll see if that sells. All right. We have gotten more for like the set of 10. We've gotten like 12 or 14. It just depends on like what offers we send out and if someone gets lucky when we send out an offer. It's not a big deal. All right, moving along, we have Warhammer Blood Bowl. These are going to be some kind of like dice. I don't know too much about Blood Bowl right here. I had to put these in this like baggie just because I had a lot of dice within a bag at the storage unit. So I was just using that cat bag. So it's 3 red ones right here. It looks like they're different symbols. There's like a skull and some different arrows and crits. Maybe these are just going to be used for the game. And then there's a green one. So yeah, these end up going for $8.79. I got a bunch of like loose dice. So I just kind of paired out the ones that were supposed to go together. And I use like, sometimes I just knew what dice the board games went to. Other time I took a guess and I would look it up and it'd be correct. And other times I had to just keep digging until I figured out what they went to. But yeah, $8.79 for those. All right, moving along. We have a CD here, right here. This one's going to be Boy Racer in full color. I'm not like a music person, so I don't know too much about this one. We got a bunch of CDs a bit ago. I talk about it all the time. It was like $75 for full car full. Still have them selling to this day. So yeah, this is probably like one of those hidden gem purchases where even though like this one was only $7.99, it's been like that for, I think we got that bulk deal when we did part-time. So it's at least been like 4 or 5 years of just constant money coming. These take up space in like 2.5 boxes in the storage unit. So small amount of space. Sometimes they're a pain to get because it's just a bunch of CDs and I have to like, you know, eyeball and find them. But yeah, $7.99 for that. All right, moving along, we have Battlefield Evolution. These are going to be, what's their official name? USMC M1A2 Abrams tanks right here. These are going to be for some kind of miniature game. We've sold the books before. I only got the tanks recently. Someone actually helped me out and identified them for us. We've been selling them a bunch. But yeah, there's 4 of them. These went for $23.99. The person who helped identify them also said people just like using these tanks and other stuff just because they're like good size and good quality. But yeah, we always do pretty well with like tanks, ships, submarines, airplanes, jets, like just kind of like the side stuff where cars and stuff like that are going to be more common. Infantry are more common, even though we do sell a bunch of infantry. All right. Next up is going to be Gloom right here. This is a card game, board game. Haven't seen this one in a while. This is super popular. I would say like 10 years ago or something. They have these good quality, clear cards, almost like I think it's like 2 decks of cards. They also have a bunch of expansions, and you have family members. There's a lot of like flavor text to read, and the goal is to get your characters killed, your family killed before someone else, which is why it's called Gloom. So on your turn, I believe you get to. I never played it, or maybe I did play it one time. It's been so long, like I said, over 10 years ago. But yeah, you're putting these cards or effects over family members. You can put them over yours or other people, so you can make like other people's family members happy, and then they'll have these numbers of like, you know, plus, so like they don't die until they get to 0 or negative or something like that. Like I said, really interesting card game. This ended up only going for $7. I could probably find this one again. I forgot where I got that one, but I was like, oh, someone will pick that up. I probably got it for like a quarter or less. It sold for $7. All right. Moving along, I should have done more work into this. This is going to be Folklore Affliction. This is a bunch of like expansion pieces, decks of cards. So Folklore Affliction is going to be this storytelling, like a dark fantasy world. You're going to pick some characters and you're progressing through a campaign. There's like a travel mode on a world map. You're going to do a bunch of story events, kind of like choose your own adventure with have effects on your characters. There's a bunch of tiles where you do combat and stuff like that. You're also advancing and progressing your character with gear and story and stats. So I really like the theme of this game. I have the base game. It's been too long since I played it, and I do plan on playing it again at some point. But this is a bunch of, like I said, I could have gone deeper to figure out which expansions these went to. This is just a bunch of loose pieces. So we have some like cards here, character stuff. There's this character board that I couldn't even find on eBay. There's some tiles. Yeah, and then there's like unpunched tokens here. They do have a bunch of expansions from like Kickstarter and stuff. There's a lot to go through. So yeah, this ended up going for $25. I was having hard time figuring out some of the stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to group it all together. My tongue is all twisted. All right. Next up is going to be this official Dungeons & Dragons miniature map right here. These are gridded maps for that Dungeons & Dragons miniature game where you would get the collectible booster packs. And then within the booster packs, there'd be different sizes of miniatures. They would have different rarities. You actually play a game with them on these square gridded maps of like 1 inch. Also, people can use this for role playing because the size is still a pretty good scale for people, plus as good art, so they can use it for whatever they want. But yeah, I remember I got a bunch of these before recording, like before on YouTube. But yeah, this is like, I think the last one from that bin, $15.12. So yeah, I had like 20 or 30 of those maps at some point. They did slowly sell. All right, next up is going to be this. What is this one called again? Yeah, this is, I'm not an anime person, FLCL. It's like Chloe or something. I looked it up when I was pulling it. This is actually an old listing of ours. We have a bunch of like DVDs and stuff that we had on our bookshelf. Our bookshelf in our parents' basement was like the first thing we listed stuff onto. And then we just kind of transferred the whole thing to our storage unit. Bad long-term decision, because now it's going to be a pain to like kind of, you know, reorganize that whole section. It's easier to just like put something and then to take it all out and redo it. So it is a section in the storage unit I need to go through, but we have some listed stuff on it and some not. And the listed stuff doesn't have a SKU number. So whenever something sells, it's like a physical media, doesn't have a SKU number. I go, okay, I know that's on the bookshelf. I found it relatively quick, $19.31, but sometimes it takes a while for me to find stuff on that bookshelf. But yeah, anime, people like it. It's been super popular. I would say it's probably the most popular it's been almost ever. A lot of different people of age groups like watching various sorts, all types. All right, moving along. I don't remember this. Well, where I got this. Well, even though I made a note, Game of Thrones. This is going to be the card game. Is this the living card game one? No, I think this is just the card game. So this is not the living card game, which was different, but also by Fantasy Flight Games. So I think this is just gonna be like a 2-player board game. This one had no box. Everything else is there. And I made a note that I got it at auction for $0.25, which must have meant that it was in a collection, and I divided it among stuff because I think usually minimum bid is $2 or $1. So like there's no way I got this for $0.25 unless it was part of a bigger collection, which is this was probably from that auction a couple years ago. So yeah, this ended up selling for $16. I haven't played any of the Game of Thrones games. The living card game looks intriguing to me, but I would have to have people to play it with, and it's not Aneta's. she's not like she doesn't like Game of Thrones that much. All right. It's okay for me too. It's just okay. All right, moving along. We have these Hovels miniatures. These were a bunch of cool miniatures I got. You can't really see them. It's like 4 Wild West civilians. There's a table with like little like poker cards on it, and like a lot of details on these metal miniatures. There's chairs and like bottles and drinks and stuff like that, and you can like seat them and make a little scene. Got a bunch of these miniatures, really cool. They were probably like the most unique that I've gotten for like the positions or the little scenes that they were making. So yeah, these end up selling for $18.50. I asked up more for them. I still have a couple more lots, but yeah, I asked for more just because I haven't seen like specific stuff like that. If someone wants to do a Wild West RPG and they want some civilians with a poker table with the details and they want to paint it, they would pick that up, which is probably why they grabbed it. All right. Last up for the day, we have Reboot adventure game, The Virus Hunter. This was going to be a choose your own adventure book. I've never seen this series before. We got this one. This happened to be worth more, so maybe it's more rare. Maybe is this one? Yeah, it's from the UK, so maybe there's just not many here in America. But yeah, this ended up going for $47.99. There were a lot of people for like the choose your own adventure books, like the more rare ones we had, sending way lower offers, even if we saw actives and solds at a lot more. So someone finally picked this up, I think for full price. I think that was our asking price. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good week so far.